Welcome back to The White Gold. This is episode 9, and today we're exploring the complex and dangerous relationship between pornography addiction and cortisol, your body's primary stress hormone. Cortisol is often misunderstood. While commonly labeled as a negative hormone, cortisol plays essential roles in your body when functioning properly. It helps regulate your immune system, blood sugar, and metabolism. It controls your sleep-wake cycle. Most importantly, it orchestrates your body's response to stress, mobilizing resources to help you handle threats and challenges. In a healthy system, cortisol follows a precise daily rhythm, highest in the morning to energize you for the day, gradually declining throughout the afternoon, and reaching its lowest point at night to allow for restful sleep. This pattern, known as diurnal cortisol rhythm, is fundamental to physical and mental well-being. But what happens to this crucial hormone when pornography addiction enters the equation? Pornography creates what endocrinologists call a dysregulated cortisol pattern, disrupting both the daily rhythm and the stress response system in profound ways. Let's examine the mechanics of this disruption. When you first encounter pornographic content, your brain perceives it as a novel sexual opportunity, triggering a small decrease in cortisol. This initial drop contributes to the temporary sense of relaxation many users report, creating the illusion that pornography relieves stress. However, this relief is short-lived and deceptive. Within 30 to 45 minutes after pornography consumption, cortisol levels typically surge 40–85% above baseline. This delayed stress response occurs because your brain recognizes the mismatch between the intense sexual stimulation and the complete absence of actual reproductive opportunity. This cortisol spike manifests as the familiar feelings of shame, anxiety, restlessness, and irritability that follow pornography use, what recovery experts call the post-pornography stress response. With repeated exposure, this pattern becomes deeply problematic. Your hypothalamic pituitary adrenal (HPA) axis, the neuroendocrine system that regulates cortisol, becomes increasingly dysregulated. A groundbreaking 2022 study from Northwestern University observed cortisol patterns in men with and without pornography habits. They found that frequent pornography users showed markedly different cortisol profiles. Blunted morning cortisol. Instead of the energizing morning peak, they experienced flat, insufficient morning cortisol, contributing to chronic fatigue and morning brain fog. Elevated evening cortisol. Their cortisol remained abnormally high at night, disrupting deep sleep and preventing proper recovery. Exaggerated cortisol response to minor stresses. Their stress response system became hypersensitive, releasing excessive cortisol even for minor challenges. Impaired cortisol recovery. Their cortisol remained elevated longer after stress, creating a state of chronic physiological strain. The consequences of this dysregulation extend far beyond feeling. Stressed, chronically elevated cortisol actively suppresses your immune function, making you more susceptible to illness. It accelerates breakdown of muscle tissue. It impairs cognitive function, particularly memory and decision-making. Perhaps most concerning, it damages the hippocampus, the brain region essential for learning and emotional regulation. Elevated. Cortisol also creates a vicious neurochemical cycle with pornography. When cortisol rises, it acutely suppresses dopamine function, creating feelings of anhedonia, inability to feel pleasure from normal activities. This dopamine suppression creates intensified cravings for the artificial stimulation of pornography, the very thing that disrupted your cortisol in the first place. This explains why many pornography users report feeling caught in a cycle, using pornography to temporarily escape stress, only to experience greater stress afterward, triggering more intensive pornography-seeking behavior. Over time, this pattern creates what researchers call allostatic load, the cumulative wear and tear on your body from chronic stress activation. This manifests as accelerated aging, increased inflammation, metabolic disruption, cardiovascular strain, and heightened vulnerability to both physical and mental illness. The connection between cortisol dysregulation and pornography addiction is further evidenced by recovery patterns. Men who successfully abstain from pornography consistently show normalization in cortisol profiles, often within 2 to 3 months of abstinence. But there is hope. Your HPA axis possesses remarkable resilience and can recover with proper support. 2. Restore healthy cortisol regulation. Eliminate pornography completely, the single most effective intervention for cortisol normalization. Establish consistent sleep and wake times, even on weekends. This helps reset your circadian rhythm and stabilize cortisol patterns. Morning sunlight exposure. 15 to 30 minutes of natural morning light powerfully signals proper cortisol timing to your brain. Stress management practices, meditation, deep breathing, and progressive muscle relaxation have been shown to directly modulate cortisol patterns. Regular, moderate exercise, while avoiding excessive high-intensity training, which can further stress an already taxed system. Adaptogenic herbs. Compounds like ashwagandha, rhodiola, and holy basil have demonstrated effectiveness in supporting healthy cortisol regulation. Proper nutrition, emphasizing anti-inflammatory foods, adequate protein, and limited refined carbohydrates help stabilize both blood sugar and cortisol. During recovery, many men experience what's called the cortisol correction phase, a period where emotions may feel unusually intense and stress sensitivity increases temporarily. This isn't a sign of failure, but of recalibration. Your body relearning proper stress response patterns. The journey from cortisol dysregulation to restoration isn't just about hormones. It's about reclaiming your fundamental capacity for energy, resilience, and balanced response to life's challenges. What pornography ultimately steals is your stress resilience, replacing it with a hyper-reactive stress system that keeps you trapped in cycles of temporary relief and intensified suffering. Remember, your stress response system wasn't designed for the artificial cycle of pornography use. It was designed for meeting real challenges, recovering appropriately, and maintaining homeostasis. Give it the chance to function as intended, and you'll rediscover what genuine calm and sustainable energy actually feel like. Thank you for listening to episode 9 of The White Gold. Subscribe, share, and spread the truth. This is just the beginning.